All right, we're going to go back to our soap for a minute. Quite a few people have called or have sent me a message about doing a little figure. How they've seen some of my soap figures that I've done. I recently did one with the little fisherman and stuff, and they said, "Well, how do you go about carving a little soap figure out of a bar of soap noodles? How would you start such a way?" Basically, remember something about carving. Okay, remember something. Carving soap would be really no different than carving wood. I mean, now with wood you have the grain to worry about and stuff like that. But basically, carving soap is very much like carving wood. I mean, it's just that it's much more delicate. It's not as residual. It's you have to be more careful with it. It can break easier. It can crumble easier, and you have to just really be careful with it. So, in a matter of speaking, you want to be a lot more careful with it. Now, if I was to carve a little figure out of a bar of soap, then this is a little bar of ivory soap. I've done some out of Zest soap, made it such a way. Then what you really want to do, first of all, is you want to, I think this is around 3/4 thick is what a bar of soap is, okay? It's 3/4 thick. And so you want to get it kind of a square. You want to work kind of a square. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Today I got a little whiff of chlorine out at work, and you have to forgive my nose is kind of messed up such a way. So anyway, all right. Now what you would want to do is kind of divide this bar. Take about this much off of this bar right in here, so that you can kind of get you a square out of this. In other words, similar type square. At which case you would take your knife. I'm sorry, let me do this. I'm trying to kind of. You would take your knife. Let me get this this fixed the way I want it. In other words. Alright, well, you can kind of see it the way I want it. You would sort of begin to, first of all, take some portions off of that. Just let it drop. Soap. Where you sort of get a the reason I don't use a glove with soap is because I really have not any worry about the grain or have to put a lot of pressure. On soap you don't have to put a lot of pressure. So the slipping of the knife is just not gonna, it's not gonna happen too easy with doing soap, okay? So I don't feel that it's that necessary to wear a glove when I carve soap. Now, about halfway down you've got something similar to this. You see? All right. Now, y'all please excuse me. All right, we have now a figure is a combination of, always remember a figure is a combination of, you have the feet, you have the body, and you have the head. Okay? All right. Now, I'm going to come down here, and I'm just going to make enough room for the feet, and I'm going to cut and then move away from here like this. Okay? It's like anything else. Okay, see that? So what I've done is I've cut away for the feet, okay? Or the shoes, as we might say. Now I can bring that down if I want, a little bit, kind of on each side. But I've cut for the feet here, okay? Now, I take my pencil. Let's say that we want to bring the head somewhere around in here, okay? So, I come up, kind of draw a thing across here, and I come up and bring the head sort of like this, in other words, just cross up like that, and over like that to the back. So that's where my head is going to be. So I take, just like wood, similar, and I begin to cut away to there. Always establish where your head is, where your body is, there. See that? Now you're already starting to see your figure. Right like that. Just like wood. Very, very similar. Just like wood. Alright. Now, let's go ahead and bring this body down a little bit. Okay. So as we look at the figure here, as we look at it, we have the head, we have the body, we have the feet. You just separate them from one another. Now, with the head being like this, as you begin to round it, look there, it gives it much more of an effective look as far as what you have. And this is from a bar of soap. So, alright. Now, just lightly, your knife should be sharp enough where it lightly you can just scrape like that. On soap, one of the things you don't want to do is take large chunks at one time. You don't want to do that. Look, see how I'm just scraping my knife across there? Just scraping my knife across there, and it's taking it off. Okay? Alright. Now, we want to, for instance, let me move this over here like this a little bit. I'm sorry. We want, for instance, to put some arms in a pocket or whatever. So we take and we just kind of draw where our arms will be, right there, just like the wooden way that we do it. And we cut, and we take this out right there. And we cut, and we take that out right there. And from this side, we cut, just like that. See? Take a little bit more, and then cut into there where it fits into the pocket. Okay? Now we're going to come down with that a little bit more, but we've got, generally, we have our hand in our pocket. Now we can kind of remove a little of this. We'll come down with it. But let's go to the other side and go ahead and establish over here the same thing. We come, what I call just almost toward the chin. We come forward, come down. I'm sorry, it's really hard. Let me do it with my knife. We come like this. We come like this. And we come through like that, in other words. And we take this area off here. We can always cut back. If we cut a little bit too much forward, we can always cut back on that hand, or that arm, as we say. Okay. Alright, so we've got our arms cut here. Let me back off a little bit more on there, on both sides, and then we'll begin to more shape the figure as we get our pieces there. Alright, so if we look at our figure here, we're on our way. Now, let's go ahead and bring this area down a little bit. Now I need my V-tool, which I have over here. I can use that. Let's go ahead and bring this head, let's round it off just a little bit. Then we'll work on it. Alright, now in the back of this we want to kind of just, if you look at this, we want to just come, we want to take a little bit off back here. Alright, there we go, where it kind of gives it a little bit better symmetrical look to it. Alright, okay, now let's go ahead and shape our body a little bit. Now that we got to get this ivory soap emblem off here, so we're going to have to bring these arms down a little bit, which is no problem. Kind of give it a little, there we go. Same thing over here, have to bring that emblem, ivory soap emblem off there. Which case, see, you use basically, as you can see, I'm using the tip of my knife mostly to do this. See, I just barely use much effort or whatever to do that. Alright, let me get my V-tool. Alright, my time is up, basically. So let's look again at what we established. We established the head, the body, and the feet out of this little bar of soap. Okay? It's much like a piece of wood that you would carve, like I said. The same thing, if I was using a piece of wood, I would do the same thing. The figure would end up like this so that you can work with it. Okay, we'll come back.